Y'all know about those. Thanks again for tuning in to yet another video. Infamous coming at you live from the West Coast yet again, San Jose, California. So this is the first impressions of the Viking Viper large saddlebags. Sorry. So this is the first impressions of the clam style Viper large saddlebags from Viking bags or Viking saddlebags. All right. Just finished installing them. This is, like I said, just the first impressions. A couple rides in. Maybe you guys are wondering, about them. Maybe you don't want to wait for the 2-month review and stuff like that. The review that typically takes me a little bit of time to kind of share my own thoughts and how they're holding up so far, weight wise and stuff like that. They are heavy. All right, so let's start with that. They're heavy. We'll compare to some of the other options that I've had. They are heavy. I have Leather Pros, which is they're double the weight of these bags, but they also have probably double to triple the capacity of the bags. So it really depends on what you're looking at out of your saddlebags. Do you want capacity? Do you want style? Do you want sleek? There's so many different options. Viking has a lot of different options when it comes to the saddlebags. I've owned, I believe this is my second pair of Viking saddlebags. So I've had the soft ones, the soft leather ones on my CV carbureted Sportster, and now I have these hard style saddlebags, and I think they look fantastic as far as style. They reached out to me. They wanted me to, give them some input, a little bit of feedback. Stuff like that. Maybe share it with you guys, since the ST saddlebags are lopsided, or they're not uniform from the left to the right. These are both even, but they are smaller, significantly smaller than the ST bags. So like I said, it really depends on what you want out of your luggage system, especially when it comes to capacity. They have, like I said, they have plenty of bag options where they have a lot of capacity. You guys can look at them as I walk around and check out the angles and stuff like that. When it comes to the installation, of course, it is fairly difficult, I would say. If you're doing it by yourself, you guys can see my install video. I show you how to install them by yourself. Of course, you can check that out. But anyways, let's get into, I guess, the pros of the saddlebags. All right, so far these things are built like tanks. I don't think I've ever had saddlebags this well made and built. It is a fiberglass saddlebag. So sometimes you're here, depending on where you live, Texas, the heat, the sun, ABS, injected molding. These are fiberglass saddlebags. They're built to last, guys. The thickness of the inside of this saddlebag, I don't know necessarily how thick this is, but drilling into this, I can see that the fiberglass is about, I'd say, like a 1/4 inch thick, and it's got multiple layers. So man, they're just built like tanks. You can see all the detail, the inner detail. They're still dirty from me installing them and drilling them out, but there's a lot of little attention to detail on the inside of the saddlebag, the outside of the saddlebag, the weather stripping, the weather trim, the weather ceilings, stuff like that. There's a lot of detail to these saddlebags, and I'm just amazed how well they're built. I believe they're manufactured in Pakistan. They're not made in China, but it's neat. Like I said, overall, everything about them, the lever, the closing mechanism, the locking mechanism as well. I'm surprised. As far as the locking mechanism, or the lever mechanism, you have both of these latches that close the saddlebag. So it's really quite neat. It's not just a single latch. So they're when you close them and you lock them, they're locked up. All right. I mean, these are going to be tough to break into. And I've had other saddlebags where people have been able to break into them and steal my stuff. But these are like, I'm telling you guys, it's just nuts. And you can see the locking mechanism right here. You see how you have a 1/4-inch steel a metal piece on the inside that locks them both in. You guys can see, and it's all protected too as well. The lock and everything, it's all in its own housing, so it's not sticking out. It's not gonna, you know, catch onto whatever stuff you have inside and stuff like that. Everything's well protected and sealed. So weatherproof 100%. I mean, I'm just, like I said, I'm really impressed with the overall build of the saddlebags. You know, both of them, of course, you guys can check it out. You know, they look neat. Clam style saddlebags, well built. As far as the finish, of course, they did buff these out before they shipped them to me, so there was a little bit of residue as far as the compound and stuff like that. You know, it does have a little bit of orange peel in some of the, you know, parts where they weren't able to get into the buffing compound, so it does have swirls in the finish. So I mean, that really depends on you. If you have a vivid black bike, you know, they'll match. It's got a little bit of a pearl or a flake in it, just a little hint, so they kind of stand out. But you can see it does have swirls. You know, you see it right here. You know, it's got swirls, but you know, that being said, it is actually paint and clear and stuff like that. Sometimes, you know, with the other manufacturers, they'll ship you the ABS and it's just clear. That's it. You know, it's not necessarily paint. This is actual paint. All right. You have a primer, you have base, and you have the clear coat on top. So these are actually painted. But you know, as far as the finish, it could use a little bit of improvement. But I mean, would you be able to, you know, notice it? You guys can let me know in the comments. You know, you guys saw the unboxing video. You guys can see it. All right, there is a little bit of imperfections. I really don't mind, but you know, that really depends on you. They're $500, $600, $500, $400. My paint job's not perfect. You know, you can see orange peel all the way down. So I'm just saying, you know, maybe you guys might not be happy with the finish of the saddlebags. All right, like I said, right here you can see where the scuff marks are still at because of, you know, or the compound. You guys can see the rubbing compound, that white stuff on the inside. That's all rubbing compound. So they did try to smooth these out as much as possible. Maybe they'll improve over time. Who knows? But you don't really notice them. You might be able to notice it a little bit more in the sun. It is going to look aged. But if you have, of course, Lowrider S that's, you know, fairly old, then they'll pretty much blend in with the bike. What else is there to say? You know, as far as the weight, like I mentioned, they are a little hefty. There are a little bit on the heavy side. Each one weighs in at 10.1, 10.4 pounds with the hardware. So you guys can, of course, decide. You're adding about 20 pounds of luggage onto your bike. Like I said, these things are built like tanks. It's not ABS, all right? They don't flex like they do with the CVO saddlebags, the 2024 models. Some saddlebags, you know, they have flex. My other saddlebags, they have a lot of flex in the ABS. These have zero flex because they're properly made. So you guys can also decide. I mean, is 20 pounds too much for you? Can I notice the 20 pounds? I can. I could definitely notice the weight. I do, you know, ride this thing without saddlebags from, you know, every once in a while, and I do notice the additional 20 pounds on the bike. All right, so you guys will have to decide, you know, is that something that you want, or if you want to go with the lighter option, like the ballistic nylon options, the ballistic nylon saddlebags, which could weigh, if you have the ones I have, they weigh up to 1.7 pounds. So that is a significant difference between these and the ballistic nylon, which is like your traction supply. So I mean, we're talking about 20 pounds right now. Ballistic nylon traction supply saddlebags, you're looking at 3 pounds. Big difference. And this is, you know, of course, when they're empty, you don't have anything inside the saddlebags. So you guys will have to decide on that. Of course, nylon, they're not waterproof, they're not weatherproof, and you can't lock them up. These ones, nobody's getting into these. I don't care who you are. You would have to have a saw. You would have to have a saw to get into these, or something, or a drill. You just absolutely have to break the fiberglass to get into these. So let's go ahead and talk about, of course, the width of the saddlebag. How much did this stick out with Viking saddlebags mounting system? In case you guys are wondering, you guys live in California, you guys need to know, because you got a lane split, of course. So with their mounting hardware, you guys can see their mounting hardware. These saddlebags are about 26 inches from saddlebag to saddlebag. All right, 26 inches. So you guys can let me know, is that a deal breaker? Now, of course, you guys know me. You guys have been watching my channel. You guys know that I'll probably use a different mounting system just to get them a little bit closer to the fender. Now, I'm okay with this gap. I mean, still, it's a little. I mean, it's a little bit too thick for me. I'd say it's almost like maybe 3 inches as far as the fender and the saddlebag. I'm not a huge fan when they have that much of a gap. I want my saddlebags to be tight and sleek overall. So there's a good chance I'm going to be using a different mounting system just to kind of clean them up a little bit. But, you know, as far as the gap, you guys can let me know in the comments. Is this something that you can live with, having this much of a gap? I've seen other saddlebags that are way bigger than this. So I really don't mind it, but I know in the back of my mind, in the back of my head, I know that I could always improve the way that these saddlebags look, as far as mounting them and stuff like that. But this is, like I said, Viking saddlebags mounting system. This is, of course, these bags are for a Milwaukee 8 Softail. So the mounting hardware will be specifically for your bike, but that's pretty much the only reason why these are labeled to fit on a Softail, is the mounting system. You have 3/8 bolts that will bolt directly up to your M8 Softail. So, you know, what did I have to do to mount these on the Sportster? I had to go to the hardware store and purchase 3-inch 5/16 bolt. That's what I had to do. That was pretty much it. I just had to pick up a 5/16 3-inch bolt, and they fit up directly onto the bike. Now the 3/8 would, I guess it could fit on your Sportster, but you would have to drill out the struts, and that's just something I did not want to do. I did not want to drill the struts, widen up, you know, make that hole bigger where it mounts, because it's very close. But I just didn't want to make that hole bigger, and of course, you know, introduce the weather elements and all this other stuff. I'd rather have, you know, prefer to go with Home Depot, pick up, you know, 4 extra bolts, 3 inches, 5/16, and you're pretty much, you know, done. And of course you would have to get the nuts, but you could actually use their washers and stuff like that, because their washers still fit. So that's what I went ahead and I did. You can see that's their washers. You know, they have these massive washers to kind of hold the fabric in place, because you do have to drill into these saddlebags. So we have that. Overall, style-wise, clam, you know, the way they open up, the way they look. Like I mentioned earlier, these are about half the size of the ST bags. Now they are even, you know, they're both the same size. If you guys own ST bags, you guys know that the right saddlebag is shorter than the saddlebag on the left. Both of these are the same size. All right, so there's no, you know, lopsidedness or anything like that. They're both the same size. The only issue, of course, is the capacity thing for me. You know, that's the capacity thing. But like I said, it really depends on the style. Do you guys want that sleek design, like, you know, what you get out of these Viper bags, or do you want more capacity? If you want capacity, then like I mentioned, there's other options. I would say so far the cons to the saddlebags would be, you know, personally, the capacity My camera bag still fits in this, but they're actually slightly smaller than, of course, the other ones that I have that I've already painted. The other saddlebags that I've already painted, and I have them, you know, set up for this. I still have to paint these, so don't mind that they stand out. I still have to paint them. But as far as the capacity, these are slightly smaller, and these are, of course, double the weight. My other ABS saddlebags, they weigh in at, like I mentioned, they weigh in at 5.6 pounds. So they're 10 pounds. They're about 11 pounds, both with the mounting hardware. These are 20 pounds. So I would say the cons would be the capacity. I would have liked to have had them a little bit bigger, but on the Sportster they fit perfect. All right, I think on the Softails it might look a little small, but like I mentioned, you probably want, you know, that style over, you know, capacity. So like I mentioned, the con would probably be the weight. I mean, these are still lighter than my Leather Pros. My Leather Pros weigh in at 40 pounds, empty. All right, and those are canvas. Those are ballistic nylon saddlebags. All right, so you have that. But I think overall the locking, the weatherproof, of course, and then another pro to these is you don't have to worry about the ballistic nylon fading. Of course, you have sun damage, you have all that other stuff. My Kimimoto saddlebag, you see it's starting to turn purple already. But of course, you know, I commute to work and I leave, and this thing gets hit by the sun all day. So these will have the protection of the paint. So that's, you know, that's one of the things. I've seen saddlebags, I've seen Leather Pros that have only lasted about probably 2 years, depending on how much you ride and depending on where you store your bike. Some people don't have garages, and you guys might leave your bikes outside. I've seen Leather Pros that are almost completely white from all the sun damage that they've taken. So, and a lot of you guys mentioned in my comments, you guys are probably in Texas and Arizona, where the heat is, you know, much worse, and you're probably looking at, you know, replacing your Leather Pros potentially every 2 years. So, you know, that's, you know, some of the pros. They're built like tanks, fiberglass. You know, the build quality is fantastic. The finish could use a little bit of improvement, but I think they look pretty badass on the Sportster with the overall build, with the ST fairing and now the mini ST saddlebags. So that's pretty neat. You guys can let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Are you guys, you know, looking forward to having these? An improvement over, you know, the STs. I think build wise, these are an improvement over the OEM Harley-Davidson saddlebags, 100%. The ABS, but like I said, they're heavier. You also don't have a mounting system like you do with the ST on the bottom to give them a little bit more stability. But on my ST, it doesn't really matter because I can't really get the bracket around the shocks. I guess I would have to make a bracket. I mean, if you wanted to, you could make a bracket from the saddlebag down to the exhaust over here. But you know, that really depends on you overall, you know, style. I'm okay with the way they shake. Here, let's turn it on. You guys can see how much it shakes. Alright, so there it is. Keep in mind that I have not mounted the bottom of these saddlebags. I still have yet to mount the bottom. But I think as far as shake, this might be it. I believe. Not entirely sure. Of course, this is a rubber mounted Evo. You guys can see the whole bike shakes. So on a Softail, I think the shake's going to be a little bit less noticeable. I'm almost certain that they're going to be pretty steady, but you guys can see how much they shake. I mean, it's nothing to, you know, be worried about. I've had the ABS saddlebags on my Sportster for, what is it, 2 years, and they've held out fine. These fiberglass, they're gonna just hold up, you know, better than the other ones. I mean, that's what I believe. You guys will just have to stay tuned for the overall follow-up review video. But you know, that's how much they shake. I believe even with the even with the mounting system on the back, I still believe this is probably how much they'll shake. All right, this is of course Viking's system. You know, is there anything else that I'm leaving out? The capacity, I think that's another one for me. The capacity, like I said, my camera bag still fits, which is fine, which is great. You know, that was my one concern, was the camera bag. Is it still going to fit? They still fit. So luckily I could use these saddlebags, because that was my main concern, was just the fitment. But as far as, you know, a day tripper, maybe if you were wearing the same pants and stuff like that, I think you can make it work. But I'll probably add something else.